Welcome. I am Michelle Velasquez, financial coach and founder of Virtuous Wealth Building. Today, during our Latina Moms Building Wealth interview series, we have with us Connie Alban, a commercial and personal insurance specialist with American Family Insurance. Before we begin, please note that this is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as advice. Welcome, Connie. How are you?
Hello, Michelle. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited.
Thank you for being with us today. As you know, this is an interview series where we want to help Latina moms build wealth and try to help them save and most importantly to help protect. And I know that you and I have had numerous conversations about this and we are in alignment of our beliefs. And so I really thought it was important to have you as a guest today. So Connie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, of how you became a commercial and personal insurance specialist?
Well, the story's kind of long, but I'm gonna go like in a super summary because I don't want to bore anyone. But I was born and raised in the middle of actually the middle of the world, which is Quito, Ecuador. I was there till I was 22. Then life happens and God, I mean, you have plans, but really God has others. So, long story short, I ended up here with my whole family and start a new life in Chicago, Illinois. So that was about maybe 15 years ago. Um, Migrating to the States was really, really hard. And honestly, I thought I was an educated person because I have a college degree. I thought I had it all, I knew it all, but in reality, United States has its own system and it will break you if you don't know the law, if you don't know the right people to talk to, if you don't have the context, the specific context. So my journey migrating to this company, to this country was really, I'll say painful because I didn't know. I didn't know better. So my journey was falling a lot until I reach out to the right people. Now, how I ended up doing insurance? Well, it all starts with my father passing away in a car accident. And
Sorry to hear that, Connie.
that, I mean, it is what it is. Life happens, and that's it. I mean, my life was perfect, if you want to say it, because I just have my family. We have everything was great, everything until one day there's a car accident, and that's it. I was 22 at the time. I had a perfect life, as I was saying. My father took care of everything. He had his own business. He had a construction business, so we were well off. I mean, we had a really comfortable life, and at that time, I didn't know, okay, because I thought it was given. I deserved it. That was my mind, of a spoiled little brat. So, like, when that happened, is that when my father passes away in the car accident, he didn't have a seatbelt. So that's when he has the accident. Obviously, that's how he passes away. I was 22 at the time. I had a sister, she was 14. I have a 7-year-old brother. My mother was not working at the time. She was a stay-at-home mom. So the whole world fell apart. So whatever I knew at that time ended. So just at that time, I needed to go and do all paperwork that you can think of. I
Mhm.
started finally, well, the first time in my life, I knew what a mortgage is, what a life insurance is. Um, did we have money in the accounts? My father seemed to be pretty organized, but was that the case? The only way to know was at that time, and thank God he was. He was a pretty organized gentleman, business owner. He left all his affairs in good order. So I can tell you that I was like, when I saw the bank account, when I saw what he owed, if he had credit card debt, he didn't. I mean, he had a small, I think, $500 credit card debt that we were able to pay off right away. It's like he had his affairs together. But the only thing that I say is that he was not a believer of life insurance because he thought he was gonna live forever because that was his mind. I am working for the future. I'm working for retirement. I'm working for you and for me and your mom to have a nice little cozy life. But that's his mind in the future. So he didn't buy a life insurance for him, but he did have some life policies that were aligned. He had one at the civil engineer college. He had one a part of one work here or there. So I ended up discovering he had like four or five life policies that were small, but that was kind of like um, in the middle of the storm. You have no idea how much peace it gave my family because
Well,
my
Connie, I absolutely do. So I'm on the opposite, right? We've related where you say my
hmm
father died, and my father did have life insurance, right?
hmm
And so, like you said, that brought us in that moment of chaos. That was super helpful to have. So I think that, the listeners here need to comprehend like the importance of leaving a policy behind and what that does for the rest of us that remain, right? And like you said, he was thinking about the now, the then, but and so that little bit that was left, even though if it wasn't much, I'm sure it was so beneficial and helpful for you guys.
At that point, my mother was not working and she was not capable to get a work right away because of some health issues that she had. So life insurance was all we had, period. Um, it gave me the peace of mind that my little brother and my little sister were able to continue their education
Mhm,
because they used to, I mean, they were going to private schools, which is normal back home. It's not like here, it's just normal. So we were able to pay for their educations. Myself, I was in my last year of college. I was able to pay for my college education because of the life insurance. So no one told me, I lived it. So I
mhm,
know in the pain, because losing someone that you love, losing someone that you care so close to you, I don't think no one has felt what real pain is like until you lose someone you love so much, like a father, a mother, a partner, a spouse. So the pain is so deep that having the life insurance was like, okay, I can breathe. That's how I felt. So when I migrated with the money of the life insurance, we were able to migrate here so my mother can actually find a job. Because in my country that was not feasible because of her age. Unfortunately, there's age limitations for other to hire. Um, the workforce is like that. It is what it is.
mhm.
So in the United States, it's not a constraint, the age you have. So that's the benefit that we saw here. So that's where we came and we started over. Now, um, fast forward, I decided to work in insurance because of what it did to my life. So I know God put me in this job, in this situation, because this is the way that I have to give back my community, to protect others, and to educate and empower people to do the
Mhm.
right thing.
Right. Wow. I mean, what an amazing story, Connie. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing the vulnerabilities. Um, I'm also a product, of the life insurance and the benefits. And my mom being a widow, also stay-at-home mom. I know what it did. We're five sisters, and for us, we were just. I was I had just graduated grad school, I believe, when my dad passed. So the not feeling like how am I going to take care of mom? I was the only daughter not married. So at the time my mom's world was falling apart, her lifestyle, right?
hmm
The lifestyle that she was used to, traveling and doing all kinds of things, really, just kind of came to an end. And yeah, so the power of life insurance and the power to protect. I always tell women as I'm coaching them during our one-on-one or when I do couples coaching, like it's so important to grow wealth, but it's more important to protect what we already have. So
hmm
I'm always like, let's protect what we have first, and then we grow, and then we build.
Exactly, exactly. That's exactly my point. The more you grow, the more you have to protect. So my job here, because my first language is Spanish, so I love to teach Spanish speaking people because I can talk to them in their language. But of course, I'll talk to anyone regardless of their background. What I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of people out there that want to do the right thing, that want to do what's correct, but they don't know who to talk, who to trust, or who even to ask because not a lot of people take the time to speak to you, and not a lot of people have the time to tell you what is good for you,
To
and not
explain, right?
exactly,
Not a lot of people have the time or the patience to really
exactly.
explain to people. There's times that I'm coaching people and they're like, wow, you explained it so easy, right? And
Exactly.
sometimes we forget who we're talking to. And it's so important for people, especially Spanish speaking, like my mother, right? She always wants to talk to somebody her language, right? They want to
Mhm.
talk to somebody in Spanish that understands them, that they understand that there is no miscommunication. And so it's so important to be bilingual in this case, and especially with our parents. This is the baby boomer generation, the largest wealth transfer in a long time. So I think it's so important that you can speak their language, that you can identify with them to be able to help them.
Exactly, because I think I'm from both worlds, if you want to say it, because I was there almost 22 years of my life. I'm 38 now, so I've been quite a while here as well. So it's like I'm not from here, I'm not from there, but I kind of understand everyone. So I do understand people that I understand people that are starting their own companies. I love to help those as well because I know how hard. I mean, I am an entrepreneur myself, but I learned it from from my father. So every time I'm helping a new business owner, whether it's a cleaning company or it's a construction business or is a store like convenience store, I feel like I'm helping my father because that's something that when I was at college, I used to like talk to him about everything about what was college, what was about. And I told my dad, I'm going to study finance, dad. What do you think? I'm like, yes, let's do that. And you're going to help me in my business. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to read your financial statements. I'm going to create. So whenever I'm helping business owners, it's kind of that part that it's lost,
Hmm.
that I couldn't make it, that I couldn't fulfill. So, I
Yeah.
mean, as I'm telling you, life happens. We have our own plans, but life is different.
Yeah. What would you tell the people listening to us say? I know at times when I recommend, life insurance, do you have enough? For those that are like, I can afford it, right? And so I get that a lot. Well, I can afford it. And sometimes I'm like, you can afford not to, right? Because of what we already know, what we already went through. And the headaches that people go through, especially the financial burdens that people that in this season you might not be prepared. I just had a friend, her mother passed, right? She was not prepared for that. Her finances were not in order. She wasn't prepared for her mother to pass. And now you're in this middle stage where it's like, I need to help mom's burial. I need to survive with my own bills. I need to help my kid, my young adult child. Like you're in this middle stage. So what do you tell that person?
Okay, first thing you gotta see is that there's a lot of options of life insurance out there. There's it all starts like I have options $10 a month, okay, and I have super fancy life insurances that are complex. But really, the best life insurance that you can get is the one that you can afford, and do it the sooner you can because the price of life insurance depends health age. Those are the two key points of a price of a life insurance. So if you're 20, do it now. Why? I'm not planning to die. I'm 20, right? No, it's because now it's cheap. Now you are healthy. So you're insurable. It's affordable. So if you really want to plan for your future, get a life insurance when you're 20. Why not get a life insurance for your kids? It's a really nice gift and adds a vehicle of wealth transfer. It's super affordable. You are kind of have you help them get that checklist done and move forward. So why am I telling you this? Go ahead and do it now. The best time to do a life insurance is now. You don't know what life brings. Let's say that's okay. You can afford the life insurance, but what about your health? Are you going to have health issues in the future? Are you going to have diabetes? You just don't know. And those type of things just increase your price. Even your height and weight can increase the price of your life insurance. So there are a lot of factors that will trigger that. The other thing that I would like to mention that is really important, a lot of people think I have life insurance through work. That is enough. And that's so wrong. Life insurance is an amazing benefit through work, but that's your plan B. Your
Hmm.
plan A is always something you personally control, which means if you cancel, you do it yourself. No one else does it for you. And
Yep.
if you move from that company, if you retire or they'll let you go, you continue to have your benefit no matter what.
And you know what, Connie? There's two things that I want to mention here. The first one is health. You said it yourself, right? You don't know when your health changes. It changes from one day to the next. I'm also be very transparent here. That also happened to me after I had my third child. They found a dermoid on my uterus. Some people call it tumor, non-cancerous, whatever. At this case, um, I was denied long-term disability because of it, right? And so did
Okay.
I think that after having a child that was going to happen to me? Absolutely not, right?
Mhm.
So I'm super passionate about educating people, about really sharing my story, about being very transparent so others can learn from my mistakes, right?
Mhm.
Of not having that particular long-term disability prior to having my children. And so yes, health is there is no age for health. So I completely agree with you. The earlier that you get your life insurance, the earlier that you get your affairs in order, the better, because there is no age for death, no age for health. And then the second point that I wanted to touch that you were talking about was not only life insurance or transfer of wealth for your children, right? There's a lot of policies. I had a friend who her son had went to the dentist and they found a lump in his mouth and it
Mhm.
ended up being a tumor, you know? So eight, I want to say he was about 8 years old. And so at that point, the parents here thought maybe the dentist, gave him too much medicine or something. And at the end of the day, it ended up being a tumor in the mouth, right? So you just never know if you ever need your policy. There is no age for it. So, yeah, I'm super grateful that you're doing this. I know you're super passionate about it. I know we've had numerous discussions, and it's so important to work with somebody that is passionate, that is patient, that understands it, and most importantly, that can explain it to you, right? Because so many times um, we are like, I don't understand. I have no idea. And we don't buy because we're confused. We
Mhm.
don't buy because we don't know. Right. And the second thing that I wanted to highlight that you said was when you leave, I left my 9 to 5. And thankfully I had life insurance outside of my work. Right.
Mhm.
But a lot of people stay stuck in certain jobs. Like in this, I was a government employee. And this particular, because a lot of people are like, well, my life insurance is tied to my job. So people
Mhm.
don't want to leave the job, can't leave the job, or maybe at this point now you're not healthy, and so they're so afraid to lose that, right? And so now,
Exactly.
now you're tied down.
Mhm.
Now some people feel stuck. I was like, "Bye, I gotta go,"
Mhm.
right? Like, I knew that I already had another policy. I know that my affairs are in order, and so that's something that I also promote. I have a 90-minute session called the financial checkup, and you'd be surprised and amazed on how many times I sit with clients and I do this money mapping session, and some of the things that I see their life insurance. My question is, do you have life insurance? Yes or no? And if so, is it enough? And is it enough based on the debt that they have, right?
Mhm.
I had a client who had over $200,000 in debt and they had a $50,000 policy and they had just had a
Mm.
child. And I said to
Exactly.
them, it was a couple, I was coaching a couple, and I said to them, well, I'm so happy that you guys actually have life insurance. However, you have $200,000 in debt, not even including your mortgage, and you
Mhm.
have a $50,000 policy. And I said to them, really think about it. Lord forbid something happened to one of you. What does that look like? And especially they had just had a child, so the baby was like 1 year old. It was a 1 year old. So at this point, I'm like, you have a 1 year old child. Lord forbid one of you is gone. You're gonna have to take some time off. You're gonna have to fix your affairs, especially because they had over $200,000 in debt. Like, what does that look like? And so I think that sometimes people are so worried about living the lifestyle. And I know in my Latina Moms Facebook private group, I just had a live recently. I said, let's not worry about the lifestyle, right? Let's worry about creating the multiple streams of income. Let's worry about building those assets that can later provide the lifestyle that you want, right? And so I agree, there's so many affordable policies. I'm all for life insurance. It has tremendously helped my mother, my personal situation. That's one of the
Mhm.
reasons that I became a financial coach as well. And so, I really want to thank you for sharing with us today, for, sharing your story, sharing how you can help people. But before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to leave the audience with, a couple last minute words or advice or anything like
Yes.
that?
There, I would like to say two things. First,
County
you
one. No, I'm
can
just kidding.
no, I mean, no, really, like I would like to say that you can have more than one policy because each policy may have their own goal. Like, for example, this couple that you told me, they have the $50,000 policy. Most likely, it is a permanent policy that they want to have forever for final expenses, for cash value. So for them, it's an option to get a supplemental or second policy term that will give, I don't know, $500,000, that it's not as big as paying as a permanent policy. But again, we need to see case by case scenario,
Mm,
case by case basis. You can have one or several, and there are different type of policies out there. So don't worry about that. There's always an option for you. And second, I gave my kids the gift of life insurance because it's a wealth transfer vehicle. I'm just gonna give you numbers so it sticks in your head. I'm gonna pay $9,000 for a $50,000 benefit policy. So my family will receive in the future $50,000 for sure. I only pay 9,000 throughout the time. It is more than 550% in return. Stick that on your head. And that's a gift that I can afford right now to live my legacy.
Mhm, mhm. Absolutely, and it's also knowing what you value about money. I always talk about what do we value, right?
Mhm.
And so it's so important to know what you value. And you said something earlier about it, everything goes case by case. And I want to repeat that because there's times that you want to look at your friends or your
No.
coworkers and they're like, I have a $1.5 million policy. Oh, I have a whole life policy. I have a term. Like you said, it's case by case, right? What works for someone else might not be the best policy for you. So it's
Correct.
super important to get your own personal quote to be able to sit down with you and have these conversations. Connie, uh, where can somebody reach you if they want to connect? I know that we will post it also when we promote and we put out the video, but uh, your information, should somebody want to connect with you, or your email?
Yes, I mean, feel free to reach out to me on social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook. My user is connie.amfam or Connie Alban. You will find me. Or you can reach out directly through the phone 773-794-9200. I will strongly suggest like doing a phone call because sometimes you're gonna have to share some personal information and social media. I don't think is the best
Mhm.
way. I prefer a phone call when you talk about life insurance.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Connie. Thank you for taking the time today to be with us. And I really appreciate you giving your perspective, your story. And, that's it's very motivating to have somebody like you cheering us on the other side.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm really happy to hear.
Thank you. Bye.